Thank you so much. Hi there. A very warm welcome to you. I'm so pleased to be here with you, to share with you. And I don't know whether you've seen that. If you have seen that, either you are from my generation or you are children of parents in my generation. And you have seen that? Does it look the same? Not quite the same, huh? But if you see them separately, they will look very much the same to you. You know, but you put them together, you'll find that maybe this one maybe slimmer. They make this man just 5% slimmer. Everything else being the same. Point is, don't mess with a good product. You know, don't keep it as it is. I mean, maybe fine-tune, update a little bit, but keep it as it is. The essence is there. And this is solid, good ingredients we are talking about. And so, what I'm sharing with you today is ingredients of what it takes to last as a caregiver. And I speak to you as a psychologist, and I speak to you as the author of this book. Even when she forgot my name, I wrote about my mom, and the book is available outside. The book has dropped in price quite a lot, not because the quality has suffered, because there are some yellow marks at the side. So it retails at $16.95, but we're selling at just $5, you know. And it's the last 40 copies left. So, so take one for yourself, and I'll be happy to autograph for you later on. The ingredients of caregiving, I did not write the book to identify, 10 ingredients and chapter 1 to 10 or 20 ingredients. As I wrote along, I realized that those are the ingredients in retrospect that really helped me so much as a caregiver, you know. Because I realized I may be a psychologist, but when it comes to caregiving, I'm like everybody else, you know. So that's how it was. So this is my mom at different age of her life, you know. And the amazing thing about caregiving is that sometimes you think the person has dementia and no more brain, you know. True, 80% may be gone, but there are moments that are really very revealing. The last shot, it was a portrait done by the UOB Artist of the Year, and she set my mother there. My mother, amazing, she could sit there for 1 hour, you know, for portrait taking. And after that, my friend showed it to her, and she said, "That's not me. Ugly." Perhaps she had a picture of herself when she was younger, you know, but the fact that she could talk like that is gumption and gusto, you know, there is life in her yet. So these moments are very precious. As a caregiver, I know you may start off like this and you may end off like this after a while. Yeah. So you realize, I mean, you know, sometimes when I thought of writing the book in this book and give a talk, I think, this is depressive stuff, you know. If you're not depressed, also after that become depressed. Then I realized that's not the point. I used to think that you are depressed, you are happy, you are depressed, you're happy, you are depressed, you're happy. Then I realized that through caregiving with my mom for 2 years, unhappiness, sadness, and joy actually come together. You know? It's a parallel path. You don't wait for one to end before the other began. And oddly enough, one of my greatest joys as a caregiver, because coming from a typical family, Mom and I, we never said, "I love you, you love me," you know. We never said that. Just say, "Take care, sleep, eat," you know, all that, and cook for me and everything. But when she had dementia, Alzheimer's disease, I don't know what happened. The Alzheimer's must have killed a lot of self-censorship cells in there. She starts saying, "I love you," and sometimes she said, "I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you." Oh, she said dozens of times, you know. In those 2 years, she must have said, "I love you" more times than she said over the entire course of bringing me up, you know, or in my manhood. So that is a surprising part about it. Yeah, there are 2 pieces of caregiving. One is purity. Not the kind of purity we talk about as contrast with what we read in the front page of the newspaper. Nothing purer than the love for your loved ones. Nothing purer than that. That's absolutely pure, you know. So I salute you because I, as a caregiver, spent 2-3 years looking after my mom. And some of you, 10 years, 20 years, I really salute you. Amazing, lasting power. Purity and productivity. Usually we link productivity to, wow, I can do things very fast. Huh? Do things under adversity, productivity, and keep yourself healthy. Oh, by the way, since my caregiving for my mom, I lost 13 kg. Yes, and my waist went from size 43 to size 35. I happily threw away all my trousers, you know. But I say, I'm a little bit vain, you know, now I'm a bit old, I'm no longer hiao, but a little bit lao hiao, you know. But seriously, you know, keeping yourself fit. If you are sick, you can't care for someone. If you are sick, you're depressed and all that. And by the way, run. Oh, by the way, just to let you know, I run 40 kilometers a week, you know. 10K. I mean, you don't have to run that. 1 kilometer is already tough enough for a start. What I mean, keep yourself pure, keep yourself productive as a caregiver. As a caregiver, you need two forms of help. You need encouragement. You know the word encouragement is enable courage. We all need so much courage, you know. So much courage because I was sitting looking at my mom's flat, 9th floor at Balam Road, and I was sitting in the car. And I took out the Straits Times to read. I took out newspaper to read. I read for 1 hour over and over again because I dare not go up. Because just yesterday when I went to see my mom was and I did not see that again, you know. So it took me so long to go up, you know. So we need encouragement. So eventually I went up and, oh, she was in a great mood, you know. So you can never tell what it would be. Life is easier if you're depressed all the time. Happy, depressed, like a yo-yo, you know. Don't need to take roller coaster, like, you know, as caregivers. Now, the constancy is important, how to last. And coping and caring. And I share with you, from my experience with my mother as a caregiver, my mother passed away at the age of 93, some years ago now. And now my mother-in-law, my wife's mother, is having mild dementia. And, oh yes, and I have a friend whose wife he's brilliant, he's a professor of engineering, and his wife, even more brilliant than he is, and you might have read, you might have known, and she suffered aneurysm, and she's basically the sunken skull, and he writes a blog, you know, it's a public blog, so I'm not breaching confidentiality, and that's how also he shared and how he survived. It's been 1 year, amazing. So caregiving can be in different contexts, different setup. Fact finding, go to the website, yes. Read, find out more, yes. Fact finding, educate yourself. And by the way, this is not spoken out of pride. As a caregiver, you know more than many specialists. You know more than doctors. You know more than doctors. You know, I myself, because I search and search, I integrate, I know more than I did when I was a psychologist, you know. So yes. So don't be bashful about it. Share that. Because it's not just caregiving. When I went to the pediatrician, my pediatrician told me, oh, your son has flat foot. I said, does he? Oh, show me your foot. Oh, yeah, yours also flat, you know. And I learned from him and learned from him about myself. And I learned that when my son had all these problems, some things the GPs don't know. And they learn from us, you know. So that is the amazing thing. Educating. Go to the website. There are lots of websites on it, and I'm sure AWA would provide help in that area. And from caregiving, revealing the encouraging stories. You'll hear more of it this afternoon, so do learn from them. And journeying together, believing and being blessed. Oh, this is very ironic, because we always thought of caregiving as burdensome. It is burdensome, but there are surprising blessings. I'd like to share that a bit with you, and I'm sure you'll hear more this afternoon. My family squabble about my mom, who should give more, who should give less, who should care for more. But when my mom had Alzheimer's, we no longer quarrel, you know. It's not a matter of calculating, you visit mom how many times, I spent last night with mom. It doesn't matter. You do what you can, I do what I could. Oh, my brother was very guilty because he migrated to New Zealand. He said, well, you are here and I'm there. I only hear about it, I don't face it, you know. I said, you're there, can't help it, you know. Yeah. So, but he came back for 3 weeks, and he looked after my mom for 3 weeks, staying with her. And my mom, during that period, was going through a very bad stage. She was sliding down, sliding down, push up, sliding down, push up, And she's waking up at night, and it's horrible. And she yell and scream and say, help me, oh, it's so terrible. And she's so much energy. And then my brother had to go out. Couldn't tahan anymore. And the domestic helper, who's really very good, she doubled up as a nurse, actually. She said, sir, when you go out, your mother very quiet. When you come back, she got drama. To me, that's, in a way, a good sign, because she wanted attention. I'm not saying she was faking it. She wasn't. But she was doing a little bit of what the army call tactical movements, I guess. So do what you can. As a caregiver, we tend to do too much or do too little. Sometimes so much, everything also do. The person can feed themselves, also feed the person. No. I remember my mom, over the 5 years when she deteriorated, she used to do her ang pao, just give me the money, give me an ang pao, I do it myself. Then the next year, I did it together with her. Then the following year, I prepared the ang paos, and she figured it out, Then the next year, I wrote the number, all right? Then 1 year, she said, you do it all for me. So, and I wrote the number in English, $10, $5, $20 and all. And the New Year came, she surprised me. Because on the other side, she wrote the same numbers in Chinese characters. I thought she couldn't do it, And then the following year, she said, just give one figure. Because you give me $2, $20, I might give the grandchildren $2 and give strangers $20. So in the end, we just settled on $4, everybody $4. So over the period of 5 years, there was a decline. But don't go ahead of yourself. Don't go ahead of yourself. Now, all of us are built differently. I'm very impatient. I'm impatient with results. When if I go for a cancer test or whatever blood test, doctor, tell me now, got or don't got. Don't wait until 2 weeks, I'm very impatient. I'd rather face the news. But somehow I've learned to be patient with my mom. Because we went to the doctor once, and the nurse was asking her a question, and before she could answer, ask the next question. Because in dementia, sometimes I ask my mom a question, and she answered 3 minutes later, And that requires a lot of patience. And amazingly, my son had that patience. My son very impatient with me. Pa, you said that many times already lah. But when he visited my mother-in-law, and he hates visiting her. He loves her, but I see her like that, But my mother-in-law would say, where are you now? Melbourne. What are you studying? Philosophy. How many more years? 3 years. Melbourne very far. And then, after 1 minute, ask the same question again. Same answer. And the beautiful thing about my son is that he never said to the grandma, Grandma, you say already lah. He just repeated the same answer, as if she asked the first time. But in other ways, she's logical. She saw me eating pineapple. Hey, you cannot eat pineapple without food, got acid. Logical function is good, but short, immediate term memory is horrible. So nothing disappears all in one go. So one thing you could do. All right. You remember this guy? Election is going on. President, he looks very familiar. Maybe he looks a bit like this guy. You remember that in the 1980s, the Coca-Cola can that fell and wow. And it's on the web anyway. The young people seem to know it because they can access it through the web, And I click it because Obama said, I'm a firm believer that 90% of success is showing up. Show up. Not in the mood, also show up. Showing up, so just a presence. Even though you don't say anything, just a presence. My mother, when she saw me, she was very tired. And I said, go to sleep. No. I want to spend time with you. And she stayed awake just for me, And I'm not going to be so bad to myself as to say I'm a lousy son. I'm not a lousy son. I'm just a Singaporean son who visits the mom every week and then sometimes cannot visit. 2 weeks pass by, didn't visit. 3 weeks pass by, feel guilty. They're not even called because feel guilty. And then 1 week pass by, never visit her once. And then, but when my mom had Alzheimer's, I visited her, and because she wanted to stay alone. Did not with my sister, so she stayed alone. And I visited her at least 3 times a week, had lunch with her at least twice, and between appointment, 5 minutes. Sometimes I just see her for 5 minutes, And she says, "Oh, so fast you go already, Later I come back, And she said to me, talk to 4 walls, Got brain also become no brain. And this is a person with no brain, so to speak, Alzheimer's. So, every moment makes a difference, your presence. Who we become depends on who we spend time with. My mom was changed, and she changed me also because she taught me so many things when she had Alzheimer's. Going there, being there. And that is so important, being there for her. Sometimes I thought, as psychologists, you must activate her brain, ask her question and all that. But in business, they talk about windows of opportunity. Talking is also the same. So I thought, today, give her IQ test, see whether you remember or not, Today, talk to her more. And I bought her this food. One day I bought her char kway teow, zui kueh, song kueh, everything. She ate. And then I talked to her. She said, "Shut up. I want to eat. You talk so much for what?" She's not in the mood to talk. Don't talk. So you must adjust to the person. Sometimes she feels like it, sometimes she doesn't. Being there for her in good times and bad times. Sometimes it's amusing when you look back, When I was in hospitals, my mom was in Tan Tock Seng. They gave her wonderful care. She was there about 5 times. The doctor said, "Your mother had Alzheimer's." She's one of those patients respond to antibiotics very well. She had pneumonia about 4 or 5 times, survived all of them, And my mother one day, during Alzheimer's, late stage already, she started advertising to everybody. My son very clever, general manager, doctor, how can be general manager? Everything also got, he's very clever. And then then she said, money cannot tell people. And then 5 minutes later, she announced to the same audience, my son Bo Yong, Bo Hao Soon. I don't know where to hide my face. So, it can be one way or the other, yo-yo. So that was what it was. So you need stabilizers, So, primum non nocere. I thought the role of a doctor is to heal. But the role of a doctor is first, do no harm. But don't adopt this for yourself. Adjust it for yourself. Where have I? Okay. Adjust this for yourself. First, do less harm. You will do harm, but lessen the harm. You will make mistakes. Don't worry about making mistakes. I thought I would bring her to the Alzheimer's centers for half day. Seemed a good idea, right? For a lot of people, it will work. I got them to arrange to pick up, and they were so kind. But my mom, very PR, when the staff came, she smiled. Then when they left, and then they play the 1950 song, Zhou Xuan, My mom was bored to death because she hated Zhou Xuan. She loved Deng Lijing. So she didn't want to go. I forced her to go for 1 week, In the end, no. In the end, use other things. You learn along the way. Yes, just me was saying, learn along the way. And we had a wonderful domestic. So when I brought her, I gave her $10, $5 for her to eat nasi padang, and $5 for my mom. And so she go out every day. And my mom is very odd, She started on a wheelchair waving to people. Then I asked her, "You know her?" "Oh, I don't know." "Why you wave at her?" "Because they wave at me, so I wave, lor." So there's their interaction, And she ate, and her decline was lessened, but the domestic helper gained 10 kilos, I think. Every day nasi padang. All right, so name me a caregiver who has never said or done anything wrong, and I'll call him a caregiver who has not said or done anything at all. So you will mess up. I've messed up a lot. but move on from there. All right. The facts world, find out more. Feelings world, very important. Feelings world. The opposite of love is hate. I thought so too. The opposite of love is not hate. The opposite of love is indifference. If you are suffering, it's because you are not indifferent. If you don't care anymore, you won't suffer. So you will have the ups and downs. Indeed, you will have. You know, I know because, you know, we husbands sometimes are a bit indifferent. You know? The wife come back, this husband, the wife come back, new hairstyle, didn't notice, you know. Wife come back, new dress, also didn't notice. Wife come back, he saw no dress, also didn't notice. You know. In trouble, you know. So indifference is the worst. So I'm afraid some suffering will come along because you care, because you are committed. Attitude, care for others. I don't have to tell you, you need to care for yourself first. Look after yourself. And I know, hey, but if I take that day off, mom will not receive the kind of care I give her. Take off. All right? Get some replacement, whether professional or care services. Get the person there, 80%, 70%, never mind. You go away. All right? Because you need that recharging. You need that. All right? I need that. All of us need that. We mustn't be too busy to handle stress. Otherwise, the stress will eat into us. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. I thought that caregiving was a burden. And it is a burden. Yes, my whole schedule changed. But the blessing is also very powerfully there. The blessing is so strong there. What blessings? You know, she suffered from some period of catatonia, no response. My sister from China, I make a point, my mother, when she was not having dementia, would say, bring your sister over. My sister was given away, and she was in China, and I would say, I would. And then, you always promise, never bring. Then when my mother had Alzheimer's, must bring already. So brought my sister back. My sister from China, she could have been my mother because my mother married very young. And my sister came, and she spends 5 weeks with my mom. My mom did not say hello to her. My mom did not acknowledge her. My mom did not say goodbye. My sister did not say goodbye because mom did not know she was there. Yes. So it's how to express the love. And my sister did express the love, even when mom did not respond at all. 1 month after my sister went back to China, my mother suddenly woke up from a catatonia, looked at me and said, you promised to bring your sister. Where is she? 1 whole month with her. Didn't know. But that's what I learned. Never contradict. But she was here. No. Yeah, I bet didn't bring. Never contradict. Just go along with a storyline. All right? And get her back. Go away, yes. Get close, go away. Yes, do go away. Be close and go away. All right? Intensely close, yes. And the moments can be enough. I recognize that in the end it's the moments. Sometimes 1 moment or 5 minutes can help me last few days of horrible experiences, you know. This is 1 moment I'll never forget. I said goodbye to her, and I was just about to turn, and she says, come in. And I say, what? And mom say, good night. And she said, good night is English, right? I say correctly, good night. She said it in English. And I said, yeah. And then she said, good night, good night, good night, almost making it to a Sound of Music song, you know. And that really caused my heart to flutter in hallelujahs, you know. Because, you know, we had so much love in that short time. And she forgot all her regrets. My mother was a very bitter woman because my father had a second wife, and we were not always meeting up to her expectation. At one time, she was sea-broken, you know. Give up. Kwa pua. Life in pieces. Somehow, towards Alzheimer's, and during Alzheimer's, she saw open. Kwa kui. Or be and let be, or c'est la vie, be and let be. That's life, you know. my family is good enough for me. That's what matters. How to keep yourself, expect the unexpected. One day I took her at the porch and was about to approach her. Beat you. I said, I look after you, beat me. You know, but it happens. These sort of things happens. And I know you have other experiences like this too. So what do? What difference can you make? All right? Well, I don't play golf, but people who play golf talk about the hole-in-one. Make a hole-in-one challenging. Don't make it like that. Like that, not challenging. Make a difference. Some things you can not do, some things you can do. And some things only you can do. Mom and she used to tell me stories, I told her stories. So certain things I could do with her that other people cannot do. Remember? And this reminds me, just to close, this reminds me of a young martial arts disciples who went to see the master. And he always lost. So he said, this time I'm going to win. I'm going to take a half-dying chicken, hold it in my palm, and the neck I'm going to hold with my 2 fingers. I'm going to ask my master, Master, is this chicken dead or alive? Master say yes. Dead, I let go, it's alive. If my master say alive, I squeeze, it's dead. So he went to the master, Master, is this chicken dead or alive? And the master said to him, my young disciple, whether the chicken is dead or alive, is all in your hands. So the master still won. Caregiving is in your hands, and I know they are in worthy, safe, nurturing, loving hands. I salute you for that. Caregiving is in your hands, indeed. Your time is your life, and you are spending it very well in looking after the ones you love. Indeed, you are. And on that note, may I wish you all the best. Thank you very much.
Of course, a big